6-7. The Gen Alpha middle school slang phenomena is suddenly everywhere, from national news headlines to the most recent episode of South Park.
Hey, fellas! You want to know what time I woke up this morning?
What time?
Around 6-7.
6-7!
In this video, I'll delve into the origins and evolution of 6-7, explaining why it's become so popular and debunking several online myths along the way. This video also marks the stage in the life cycle of a teenage slang term, where we as adults start to take an interest in the middle school shibboleth, trying to find some kind of meaning and to reassure ourselves that it's basically harmless and that we get it. At which point, we can begin to playfully co-opt the phrase, slipping it into everyday conversations, effectively destroying its street cred, and being very cringe in the process. Thus, eventually forcing teenagers to find something else to blurt out to effectively distance themselves from our uncoolness. For months now, 6-7 has been driving teachers and parents mad, and middle schools across the country and in Canada have even begun banning the use of 6-7 in classrooms and in schools, which is obviously only going to incite more interest and alliterative numerical outbursts. Clearly, a much more effective technique or strategy to get kids to stop saying 6-7 would be for adults to start saying it. Teachers should integrate the term into their lesson plans. Irrelevant late-night hosts should slide it into their monologues, and every middle-aged sapien with a YouTube account should make a TikTok about it.
So that's where we are. Everybody back to work. We need a draft in by 6. 6-7.
6-7 is something called a shibboleth. It's a linguistic marker that is used to demonstrate that you participate or you're part of a distinct group of people. In this case, cool middle schoolers. Once adults like you and me begin publicly and awkwardly joining that group, the kids will immediately abandon it forthwith. So where did this trend come from in the first place? And how did it get so out of hand? Well, the 6-7 source material is actually an ambiguous line from the 2024 song "A Doot Doot" by the Philly gangster rapper Skrilla. The way that switch Bert, I know he dyin', 6-7. So while the meaning here isn't exactly clear, mostly because it's drowned in incomprehensible Philly slang, and also even the songwriter says, and I quote, "I never put an actual meaning on it, and I still would not want to," end quote. It does seem to be another gangster rap euphemism, somehow glorifying murder. That being said, the exact meaning has been the playground of online sleuths ever since this trend has begun. And as I said, Skrilla himself never explained it. So we've got a couple of different theories about what this actually means. The most likely, based on the context of the other lyrics of the song, seems to be a reference to the police radio code A1067, which is used to report the discovery of a body. Another thing I've heard all over the internet is that it's a reference to 67th Street in Chicago, which is apparently like a bad, dangerous black neighborhood of Chicago. But what's interesting about this one is that since neither the song nor Skrilla himself have any connection to Chicago, this seems to be another example of what people do sometimes when they don't understand black speech or black slang, which is that they basically just make shit up. Gangster rap, black guy, murder, Chicago. Regardless of its original meaning, the lyric went viral not because of murder, but because of basketball. Because even before the song was officially released, it was being used in edits of basketball clips of the 6'7" tall basketball star LaMelo Ball. And it was at this point that the viral meme magic began to operate, because 6'7" stopped really meaning anything specific at all, and certainly wasn't about murder. It began to be kind of a code for the black cultural coolness of rap and basketball stars. And that's when the kids got a hold of it, turned it into complete nonsense, and basically made it into the hot mess that it is today. Earlier this year, when high school basketball star TK Taylon Kinney went mega viral for an innocuous little TikTok video where he's just rating a Starbucks drink on a scale of 1 to 10, and he rates it as a 6-7.
6-7.
That's when the real meme was born. And at that point, it really was just about the numbers. This is where it's interesting, because the kids that really started the trend and the viral locomotive that this thing became, they had some vague notion that this was just linked to a rapper and a basketball star. And then when Taylon Kinney kind of unlocked this weird teenage irony of 6'7" and an interesting way of saying it, it just kind of took off. In fact, this is when and why the phenomenon was able to absolutely explode the way that it did. Because once the meme is actually about nothing, well, then it can be about everything.
6-7.
Class, can you please open up your math books to page 67?
Did you just say 6-7?
And that's all there really is to it. Of course, it's still evolving and mutating like some sort of brain rot supervirus. So just as Skibbity became Skibbity Toilet and then apparently Skibbity Ohio, so too 6-7 will continue to mutate into new and annoying things. But at the same time, there are signs of 6-7 fatigue that are beginning to show. Recently, the moniker Mason 6'7", as in the name of a little white boy, Mason, has been invented to refer to a stereotypical white boy who overuses the slang and thus becomes cringy in and of himself. So here, we're actually seeing the first cracks within the community themselves that they're starting to kind of get a little bit of fatigue from this, or realize that some people are kind of going a little bit overboard. So if you find this new trend maddening or annoying, or just another example of the way internet brain rot is destroying today's youth, I would say to you, just embrace the stupidness of it while you can. It's fun to say. You can say it to your kids. If you say it, just slip it into casual conversation with another adult within earshot of your children. At that point, the uncoolness of it will be so shockingly obvious that they will probably stop using it. And there's a pretty good chance that it may be over fairly soon. And in fact, if you're here and adults are talking about it, it probably already is. For those of you that are still watching, I really appreciate it. Please like this video, hit the little thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and although I wholly appreciate you being here, the video is over and you should probably go now. Thanks for stopping by.